Hey guys, welcome back. Uh, so I wanted to talk about a more psychological thing today, not related to um, MBTI. I like doing research and thinking of theories and hypotheses that I can do research on. Now, one of my main topics that I like to think about is fear and the you against me mentality. Now, what that is we have different countries and war, and we often have this fear against strangers and the other side, and we're often want our side to win, but are selfish from the other side, and are kind of illogical in what we think of the other side. This kind of happens in countries, this happens in sports. It's one reason I never could get into sports, because there's this you versus me mentality that I could never get into. So I want to talk about maybe why I think this happens and how I can fix it, so we can control this to make our fears more logical, make violence less prevalent, and so we stop this you versus me mentality, so we're all on the same side, so we stop being selfish from each other and start supporting each other in a more worldview fashion. So I think fear is a big factor in a lot of it, especially the act of strangers. It's been studied that fear of strangers has been a thing that has gone on for a long time. Since when our ancestors were indigenous, or we lived in the forest, we lived in small tribes, if they saw another human being, they would assume it was dangerous and they would automatically attack the human or kill it. It's from things I've watched and heard. Now, I forget a total evolutionary psychology explanation for this, but there is one if you just want to go look it up. But I want to fix this stranger mentality, and I want to understand how to control fear. Now, a lot of the times what I've noticed is that most of the fear is illogical. They'll think things about the other person, the stranger, the other country, that aren't based on reality or what evidence shows. Now that's what I would like to change, because we have this fear and it causes this illogical behavior. So why are we afraid of strangers? Well, I kind of gave an example before about our ancestors, but most of the time people will have these focus on the negative thoughts, like, oh, what if they hurt me? What if they want to trick me? What if they want to do this? But most of the time, if you think about it logically, of that happening based on what they're doing, it can't really happen. And a lot of people don't use that kind of logic. You'll be talking to, let's say, a stranger online, and you're like, oh, what if he hurts me? But that doesn't make any sense, because he can't hurt you because you're not in person. So the fear is kind of not logical. And you can have fear in the back of your mind, but you shouldn't make actions that don't follow the evidence or the appropriate situation. And that's often the truth with wars in other countries. We tend to think people in different countries tend to have a view of the people in other countries that is negative that has no basis on evidence. Might be initiated by propaganda, but why do people believe propaganda in the first place? I mean, don't people know it's propaganda? I mean, logically, when you think, if you have someone over the loudspeaker or someone on the TV telling you, these people are bad, well, that's one person. I'm not sure why people don't think, oh, that's one person, I shouldn't believe that, or I should take that for what it is, just one person saying something. But people tend to believe it as fact. Now, how do we fix this? Well, I guess the best way would be education. Education at an early age about understanding the psychological phenomenon. I don't think anyone does that. We don't teach kids, well, governments don't want to teach kids, don't listen to your government, but we should, in a way. We should teach them, look, one person is one person. We should teach them to think critically. Because if you teach them to think critically about all situations and to understand what these emotions mean, then they won't be manipulated by their own feelings. People are generally manipulated by their own feelings because they take them as fact and don't know how to differentiate feelings from an actual reason. They're like, oh, feelings, that is a reason, but it's not a reason. Feeling is a feeling, is what a sign our body gives us to prepare for, say it was fear, it would prepare us for danger. But it doesn't mean it's correct, it just gives us a warning for us to think about. It doesn't give us fear to be like, oh, we need to run away now. No, it gives us fear so we can think about it and what are the possible dangers and act logically based on that. Most people don't do that. So what I believe we need to do, what I want to do, is I want to understand the mechanisms of fear, understand the mechanisms of this you against me mentality. I want to make it so we all see that we're on like the same side instead of, two different sports teams. We're all on the same world team. Now that kind of mentality, if we're all on the same team and all have that and all think that we're going for the same goal, then we won't ever be as cruel to each other. We'll be supportive. Just like, someone is if they're on the same sports team. They support the people on their sports team and they want their team to win for them, but also to support the people on their team. And we should be like that for the world, because we really all are all on the same team. We're trying to survive as a species and progress. So this you against me mentality is not logical anymore. It doesn't work. It's counterproductive. It doesn't help you survive. It doesn't help them survive. It helps us both, remain stagnant. So that should be taught in schools about that. If we have this you against me mentality, it doesn't benefit anyone. And I've never been taught that in school. That's just, common sense. But people would think, oh, that's just a moral thing. But I don't think it is. I think it's, psychological fact. I think we can make it a psychological proof with science and prove to, educators and the government this is actually true. If you teach these people this, then later on in life they will not be susceptible to manipulation, to illogical behaviors, to as much violence. And I think this is not a sociological thing, this is more an individual psychological thing. It all stems from the individual. A group actions, group behavior, propaganda affects the individual at an individual level. And the individual, we humans can function as, we're not a superorganism, quite. So we can function with our own brain. So we need to focus on teaching the individual how to handle fear and think about it logically. We don't have classes that teach you how to handle fear in elementary school and middle school. I have never seen a class like that. But if we had a class, if we dedicated, years to handling fear, to approaching fear, to teaching emotional intelligence instead of history facts as much, then the world would be a much better place. So I want to promote teaching fear control at an early age. I think that will go a long way to promoting peace. And now I can't prove this yet, but it sounds pretty obvious, but I want to do research on it so I can, show people that, look, I have proof, it works, we should do this. So that's what I'm planning on working on. So thanks for watching. See you guys next time.